drank beer, liked beer, still like beer.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rebel here, and oh my god, did you guys see that intro clip? The spawns in this game are so terrible. The dude killed me. Same dude kills me, turns the corner, and I spawn in his line of sight. The dude who just killed me, it's not like they put me in somebody else's line of sight. The same guy that just killed me. And here's the weird thing, besides the weird thing being that I visually popped up out of thin air in his view, is that I disappear from the kill feed on the side. Why do I always notice people or my deaths or my kills just disappearing from the kill feed? But oh my god, something about just turning that corner, about watching that kill cam where I die in the kill cam, he turns, and I spawn in his line of sight. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. What we're here to talk about today is skill-based matchmaking based off purchasing DLCs and PrestigeIsKey. Now, I've seen him getting a lot of flack and everyone calling him a shill and everything, which I think is quite the theory, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I want to start back where all of this started. So we're going all the way to the way back day of a couple days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when Prestige tweeted that he bought a DLC item and his lobbies were a lot easier after that, and he wasn't sure if purchasing DLCs has an effect on skill-based matchmaking. Apparently, everybody took that as him saying with 100% certainty and 100% proof because of his own experience that skill-based matchmaking based off purchasing DLCs does exist. He deleted that tweet and came out and said that the bug was something called the Savannah bug, where you get booted from playing with PC players or Xbox, because he was on PC, pulled him out of the lobby for a hot fix, and that hot fix ended up locking him into lobbies that took a while to form but had a bunch of dumb people in there, a bunch of window lickers. And he was like, no, that's actually what was causing the bug. And everyone's like, yeah, Activision just paid him to say that. It's just damage control. Which, I guess, kind of makes a little bit of sense, because then they'd get flack for their skill-based matchmaking or score-based matchmaking, which is, you know, so much different than what's going on now with them catching flack for their skill-based matchmaking. They just found a patent, and am I gonna go on a tangent here? I am. Congratulations, people. Another signature Rebel tangent. So the patent that everyone's been talking about does not specify that it's for a PvP multiplayer, and it's an Activision patent. So if you don't know anything about patents, it's something that you filed to gain exclusivity to something that you have created. That patent, in this case, is something filed by Activision, which bases your difficulty level based on how you can snap onto a target, and bases how the enemies will attack you based on your skill level. That just screams to me PvE, player versus enemy, player versus an AI group of enemies, not a PvP. Because if there's skill-based matchmaking based on putting everyone together with a collective skill level, why would they have implemented a patent to alter how the skill works? And why would you be upset about that if there's skill-based matchmaking anyway? So this whole thing doesn't make any sense. It's a PvE filed by Activision. It wasn't anything filed by Infinity Ward, and Activision does actually do more games than just Call of Duty. Ergo, I'm not entirely certain that this patent is even for Call of Duty. And if it is, there's not even an implication that it's for this year, considering the patent came in 2017. That could be blueprint patent for something that they will be working on. This game has been in development for 3 years. That's 2016. It began development a year before the patent was even filed. So yeah, they could have tried to implement it, but being that there's no visible skill difference in the PvE of Spec Ops, people are saying, oh, it's not in Spec Ops, it's in multiplayer. Maybe it's just not in the game. There's no clear implication that it's in the game, and there's no clear implication that it's a PvP patent and not a PvE patent, which seems way much more likely. So getting back to what I was initially talking about, Prestige deleted the tweet, and everyone has said that he is a shill for retracting his theory. And keep in mind that everyone is basing the fact that he's now lying about this on a 100% certain fact that they had misconstrued of a theory originated by Prestige in the first place. So it was his theory, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this is 100% true. And then he's like, I think I was wrong. I think it was a completely different bug that had something to do with this. And everyone's like, no, you're shilling. Because and this is where it confuses me. He retracted the statement saying that skill-based matchmaking is affected by DLC. If we thought that skill-based matchmaking is affected by DLC, what is that inclining the player to do? What is that inclining us to do? To buy DLC. So he says that's not the case. Buying DLC has no effect on skill-based matchmaking. And everyone is like, you're shilling for Activision. Keep in mind, this is the company selling the DLC. Now, I'm no marketing genius, but if I was, I would think that the goal would be to get people to want to buy the DLC. If someone came out and was like, hey, I think buying DLC helps you get into better lobbies, I'd be sitting there like, as the game developer, let's say that's not the case, I'd be like, well, I'm not going to tell them to shut up because people are going to now be buying DLC. I wouldn't be like, oh, do you know what's going to help my business generate money if people stopped buying DLC? So I'm going to spend company money to tell somebody to retract initiative to buy DLC. You guys get the flaw in this theory, right? I mean, in the video, in 8 Thoughts video, love 8 Thoughts, love all of his videos, they're all extremely funny, but everyone in the comment section is like, yeah, he's a shill, Prestige is a shill, but at the end of the video, 8 Thoughts said, adapt, buy the DLC, just buy the DLC and you'll do better. That would be the shill thing to say, in my opinion. Although, I guess you could argue Activision doesn't want to make it seem like they have all of this heavy skill-based matchmaking in, but we're finding these patents that people are just assuming are based for this game, specifically the multiplayer, as well as the very blatant skill-based matchmaking that is easily exploitable by shooting the ground in front of your feet with a rocket launcher repeatedly, then it sounds right that this would be in this game. That buying DLC will get you into better lobbies, but if you look at the actual people, if you look at actual comments, the reviews are different as far as that would go. The theory there doesn't necessarily hold water. It holds a little bit, it's got a tiny crack in there, and the tiny crack is all the people that say they bought DLC and didn't see a change in their lobbies. Either they're lying because random people are being paid off by Activision, which seems rather unlikely, or the skill-based matchmaking is just so undefinable in this game and works so sporadically and very blatantly, might I add, that we are just assuming that any little thing we hear is the cause of it. It's basically the placebo effect. We hear that buying DLC makes the lobbies easier. We buy DLC, we think the lobbies are easier because we're just hoping that they are, and then we think that they are, and we go around saying without a doubt that 100% buying DLC items in the store will give you better lobbies. I'm not entirely sure that's the case. I did buy the Odin, and I'm pretty sure the lobbies I was playing in when I first bought the Odin were not the same lobbies that I'm playing in now after running around with a shield and knife for 2 straight days and dropping my KD by 0.02 or 3. I would give that a higher chance of altering the skill-based matchmaking in my favor than just buying the DLC. Now, the patent that I think people might be confusing this with is the patent that says that if you buy the DLC, they're gonna try to put you into lobbies with people who don't have that DLC, so the people without the DLC see you running around with the DLC and they're like, oh, it's cool for me to buy the DLC. But based on the fact that we have such a heavy skill-based matchmaking relying on skill of the past 5 games is what they tested and said, yes, seems like might be the past 2 or 3 games have a bigger implication, but it does seem to take everything into account, and they're just gonna throw that all in the wind if you buy a gun. Look, these developers fix bugs that make more bugs, and you're gonna insinuate that they have the skill needed to completely have state-of-the-art skill-based matchmaking in a game that they've never had this in before. I don't think they've had skill-based matchmaking of this extent in any Call of Duty before, but all of a sudden they can do it perfectly and apply it with purchasing DLC. I don't know. Seems to be a little bit of a hole in that logic. I'm not entirely sure that makes 100% sense. I'm not entirely sure Prestige is shilling by deleting a tweet because he thinks now he's wrong. He thinks he knows something and everyone's like, yeah, that's gotta be the case. And then he thinks that he's wrong and everyone's like, no, you were right the first time. You're wrong now. You can't be trusted, but we're still trusting what you said the first time. even though he's telling us not to buy DLC? What? That doesn't even make any sense to me. I don't know. I thought this was funny. I thought this was pretty funny, and everyone's just piling on the bandwagon of, yeah, he's just a shill. He's just a shill. Maybe they asked him to take it down because they're like, you know, that's not the case. You know, we found this bug that's causing it. Maybe they lied to him and said that that's the reason. You know, that tweet doesn't really look that good for us, and that isn't the case. We did find it, and it should be fixed on your end. And he's like, okay, then I'll delete it and let everybody know that, hey, I was wrong. Don't buy DLC. And you guys could be like, he's a shill trying to get us to buy DLC by telling us we don't need to buy the DLC. And until next time, thanks for watching. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Am I a shill? Am I a shill for Activision? If so, my address is 123 Pine Avenue, Lakewood Drive, Centerplex Plaza, and you can just forward all of my checks to there from now on, Activision. That would be greatly appreciated. 100% appreciate that, because apparently I might be a shill. Hey, hit that notification bell, hit that sub button, hit that sub button. I've been gaining some subsubbers recently, and that's really reassuring. So yeah, you know, it's been fun. It's been fun today, rambling on yet again. I can just hear you guys shake. No one's even here anymore. No one. You're all gone. You've all clicked off of the video. Who the hell am I kidding? And until next time, peace.